Brand new balance patch. Of course, not that surprising. It is fairly often that we do the balance patch hopefuls video, and then within 24 hours, the actual balance patch pre-notice comes out. I'm going to try to be cautiously optimistic. We know how these balance patches go. I heard that some people like this one. I don't know what's in it yet, but we're going to find out. It feels like it's extra wide today, right? Because we had to put this on the screen a different way than usual. So, yeah, it does feel like it's extra wide. And see how much of this is filler and how much of this is actual good quality balancing. I can't even say it with a straight face. ComTwist, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Let's have a good balance patch. Okay, we got the Wind Jack-o'-lantern, of course. It's a force. Is this a nerf? The nerfs are usually at the top. Wind Jack-o'-lantern, Shadow of the Moon passive. Modification creates a shield for 1 turn on all allies when you're attacked. Is now creates a shield for 1 turn on all allies, excluding yourself when you're attacked. Had to nerf that 4-star that was actually useful. God forbid we have 4 stars that are actually useful. Only the LD5s are allowed to be useful. Speaking of LD5s being useful, let's stop those two. Let's just stop all of that. Okay, so it looks like we have three nerfs. Oh no, 4 nerfs because this is stun chance decrease actually. Are these nerfed too? Okay, no, those ones look like buffs. Okay, so the first 4 are nerfs. Jack-o'-lantern, Dark OG, Dark Guardian Angel, attacks 5 times instead of 4 times. Sad to see LD5s get nerfed. They did the light OG, 1 or 2 patches ago, so I suppose it was only a matter of time before they did the dark one. She kind of got the Okeanos treatment, is less multi-hits, sadly, but less pure damage available to Dark OG owners. She was doing a lot of damage. Let's be real, she was doing a lot of additional damage. If you stack those additionals, she was getting crazy there. Yeah. Light Battle Angel, Amp Shock. What is the nerf on this one? Increase all enemies' skill cooldown by 2 turns each. Is now increase the enemy target's skill cooldown by 2 turns each. And all other enemies' skill cooldown by 1 turn each. So they can still violent proc out of this. Still going to be useful. Like, if I had her, I would still use her, but I'd be disappointed that she's kind of closer to where Kid is. Kid is the water hacker. So, that's kind of... You could violent proc out of this, though. I'd be so scared. I wonder how many matches this is going to change. Oh, right. SWC's coming. Right. I forgot about that. A couple months till SWC. Dokebi Lord. Violent swing for a skill, stun chance 30 to 15%. They nerfed the skill. I don't know if I feel like that was necessary for them to nerf the skill 1. Yeah, that seems odd. I don't know what it goes up to after it's completely maxed, but Dark Dokebi Lord. Dokebi's secret spell passive increase your attack bar by 10% up to 30% per turn whenever the enemy recovers the HP. So it's just capped now at 30% per turn. Is that... I don't want to keep looking at all these because, you know, if we start doing that, then it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it didn't have a cap before, so now it's capped up to 30% per turn. All right, so it's not too insane. I see people that like using him. He is kind of a mix between, like, not as good version of Miles because not as much pure damage available. But also he gets increased speed. Well, Miles has increased speed. And then Rukuni because of the cleanse and the heal. So he's kind of like a mixture between Rukuni and Miles. But, yeah. We have Water Dokebi. All the Dokebis except for the Wind one. But the Wind one, like, people crying that that needs to be nerfed. He does mitigate quite a substantial amount of damage. And he does a decent amount of damage with that the multi-hit skill too. Multi-hit strip skill too. So Water Dokebi Lord Giant Bat absorb the attack bar by 30% is now 40% if your max HP is higher than the target. Okay, a little buff there. Fire Dokebi Lord Fire Bead passive effect that increase the damage you deal in proportion to the enemy's destroyed HP. Interesting. Well, good thing I didn't feed that second Fire Dokebi Lord. I don't know, it's probably gonna be insignificant ultimately. Such a meme combo of 2 Fire Dokebi Lord. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad, but we're gonna find out, and it's probably gonna be a massive waste of time as usual. Light Dokebi Lord Triumph over Evil passive. So there's a lot of people using this in dungeons already, I noticed. But I expected that because it increases the crit damage of the allies. When an ally attacks the enemies, increase the crit damage by 100%. And people are still saying this needs a buff. This needs a buff. I mean, they did buff it, obviously, but yeah, this is getting like crazy run times in dungeons. When an ally attacks the enemy, increase the crit damage by 100%. If the enemy has no beneficial effects, is now. When an ally attacks the enemy, increase the critical damage by 100%. Regardless, this is a this is a pretty nasty combo with huge damage dealers. I don't know why this would need a buff, personally. I mean, people were using it a weird way in RTA though. I did notice that they were not using it the way that I would have expected them to, but in dungeons, like gets crazy fast results. So, yeah, this is if you don't want it, I'll take it. Take this light vocabulary off your hands, you wackos. It's not good enough. Don't know if I agree with that. I wore Mercenary Queen, Light, Fire and Light, Harpoon Impalement, Axe Technique. Now I'm going to get angry, dislikes and unsubs from all the people that are like, I have the Light vocabulary. Don't you say that he's good enough as it is. Maybe I just appreciate him more. We have Harpoon Impalement, Axe Technique of the Mercenary Queen. Having the same skill, two units, same unit. Absorb the attack bar by 50% is now 30%. Inflict the damage increased by 50% is now 30% if the enemy is under inability effects. What? What? So there's a nerf. Absorb the attack bar by 50% is now 30%. Inflict the damage increase. Okay. I thought that was going to be... Why? I was not expecting that. All right. Fire Ivor. So they just nerfed it. I mean, they were trying to nerf the light one, I suppose, but they nerfed both of them. Oh, you got the Celia treatment. How does it feel now? You get the Celia treatment too. Sucks, doesn't it? Not fun. Trying to nerf one thing and they nerf the other at the same time. I mean, this is kind of the opposite, though. I'm sure they were trying to nerf the light one and the fire one just got nerfed because of that. They were trying to nerf the water one, Water Harp Magician. They wound up nerfing the light one as well. Wait, I'm okay. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. What else? Fire and Light Mercenary Queen. Oh, no, Fire Mercenary Queen. Passive. Increase damage dealt on your turn by 50% up to 150 is now 200 if you don't get attacked during the enemy's turn. So they nerfed the fire one and then buffed it, but they nerfed and just kept nerfed the light one. People were complaining about that when it first came out. They're like, oh, it's not that OP. I'm like... it's not any good, and it's like now you see it everywhere. You see it in all the RTA matches. If someone has it, they're using it because it is a mechanic that cuts in, and that's a really strong mechanic in RTA when it's all about like getting as many turns as possible and making sure your opponent gets, as little turns as possible. We have Water Devil Maiden, interesting. Demon Bag removes one beneficial effect from the enemy. Is now removes one beneficial effect from the enemy. Absorbs attack bar. I don't think that this is what was needed. I think that if she got like a Sekhmet type thing, then that's what I think it needed. Dark Shadowcaster, Shadow Trap passive. I'm trying to remember exactly what the Dark Shadowcaster does. I'm sorry. Target with the Shadow Trap gets attack speed 40% decreased, and your attack speed gets faster by the reduced attack speed. Oh my god. When the Shadow Trap is removed, the attack speed will go back to normal. I'm trying to remember what exactly the Dark Shadowcaster does. I do not. Hey, Dark Chimera, though. Surprising. Forbidden Power passive removes one beneficial effect of the enemy when you land a critical hit. Is now removes one beneficial effect with no specific conditions and recovers the HP by 10% when the turn ends. That feels random. I don't know why they just randomly did that. Yeah, that's odd. It seems very random. It really does. Why this one? And then why this buff? They're just picking things at random, guys. Okay, what do we have? Wind Geralt's Metamorphosis passive. Oh, okay, there we go. That is, he needs... This was the most voted on one, right? Wind Geralt, Metamorphosis passive. Decrease the cooldown of Dancing Star by 1 turn if you have 2 or more beneficial effects after the turn ends. I don't know if that's going to be enough for people to really get excited about it, but at least they're trying with these Geralts. Yeah, everything except for the water one. And everyone wanted the water. Well, not everyone. A lot of people wanted the water one buffed. He's good. He's a free unit. He comes with runes. Half you guys don't even have runes as good as the water Geralt has on him. So that's a huge bonus for your account. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that hurt? Did that sting? That's honesty. Yeah. Sucks, doesn't it? I've seen your accounts. I've seen farm runes. That's the problem. That's why people want these things buffed. They're like, I can't use this with 3-star white runes. That's correct. You can't use that unit with 3-star white runes. That doesn't mean the unit needs to be buffed. That means your rune depth needs to be buffed. Savage today, guys. Fire Geralt. I'm just trying to get as many dislikes and unsubs on the video as humanly possible. Stun chance on him is now 70%. Nice. Okay. Nice added bonus. Light Geralt, Adrenaline Rush passive. Use 1 Adrenaline score and increase your attack bar by 30%. Is now 50%. I think it's a good unit. I mean, I could understand when he doesn't activate things with skill 2. I think that's frustrating. I think that if the water one and the light one had higher activation rate on skill 2, I could see that. But aside from that, they do good for what they do. Dark Geralt, Alchemy passive. I forget what he does. Increase the harmful effect activation rate by 10%. Is now 20% for each beneficial effect granted on yourself. It was a damage increase, right? I think this might have been a little bit disappointing, if I recall correctly. I'm trying to remember exactly what he does, though. Light Surge, Flash Step, attacks once is now twice the amount of damage. This is the additional damage, right? Oh, it's so hard. These new units, and then you don't get them, and then you can't test them out, and then you got to try to look at them in RTA. After attacking the enemy on your turn, attacks additionally to deal damage increases as the target's HP status decreases and increases as your attack speed by 20 each up to 200. Yeah, extra hits. Bonus hits. Amount of damage is adjusted due to change in the number of attacks. Oh, come on, man. They're like, we buffed it, but also, screw you, we nerfed it at the same time. So it's basically the same spot. Nice. You still get extra in additionals, but what else did they do here? They did this to another unit, and it was like it was ready to be good, but then they're like, we decreased the damage. They're so stubborn. Fire, Hollyberry Cookie, Macaron Guard. I mean, some of these needed to be buffed. Let's be real. Some of these needed to be buffed. One that the community voted on to be nerfed the most was not touched. It wasn't buffed. I'll give them that. Yeah. Or I suppose it was nerfed. The stun chance for skill 1 is now 15, so it had the tiniest nerf. Window KB Lord had the tiniest nerf. Guys, they're listening. They're listening. Keep telling ourselves that. What do we have for Fire, Macaron Guard, Hollyberry Cookie? Decrease your attack speed by 30%. Is now your attack speed stays at 100 until the next turn starts. It is not affected by the attack speed increasing or decreasing effect. So it's already decreasing the attack speed, but now it's a little bit more effective to put it on Swift, if you so desire. Pure Vanilla Cookie, putting Princess Fire. This is the one that is kind of like an Oliver counter. Not Oliver, a lot of things that decrease attack gauge. So it's going to mitigate that. Now we have gains immunity against inability effects. That's the thing that I thought the Wind Momo should have. The Wind Momo, right? But this one gets instead. Increase the HP recovery amount that allies receive by 40 is now 15. Oh, so it got nerfed. Got it. It's immune to inability effects, but it got nerfed as well. That's a lot. That's a 25% heal. Is gone now. Wow. Okay. Well, extra heal, but still. It was probably unneeded. It was probably like people weren't even going to notice it anyway. I feel like it might have been overkill in a lot of situations. I don't know. Yeah. Immune to inability effects, though. Okay. I guess we'll test it out. We'll see how we feel about that. It's already used. But still. Fire Freet, Ancient Power passive. Effect added increases the Oblivion duration to 3 turns. Fire Freet, though. If the enemy is already under Oblivion effect, that's nice. Decreases the damage dealt from enemies with no harmful effects by 30 is now 20. Increased damage inflicted on enemies with harmful effects by 30 is now 20. Okay, so they nerfed it. They nerfed the stat change. They nerfed the damage decrease. They nerfed the damage output. But they give it more Oblivion. Only if it's already under Oblivion. Is this just a nerf to the fire free? What is going on? I feel like that might just be an overall nerf to him. All right. Lighter Freed, Master of Magic Power passive. Effect add. Absorb the enemy attack bar by 20% after stealing the enemy's beneficial effect. A lot of people are just using him to kill, though. That's interesting. I mean, it's a buff either way. It's not like a questionable, like, change, buff one thing, nerf another thing, so... Water Paladin, Heavenly Blessing is now a little bit higher shield amount. Okay, 20% is now 30%. Hell Lady, Water... Oh, Water Hell... Okay, so they're addressing... Well, I don't know that anyone really wanted the Water Paladin to be buffed, but I mean, it's not bad, not bad. Oh, it's nice. I'm trying to see if there's a trend. Yeah. Hell Lady Water Light Gouge deals 50% increased damage to enemies under continuous effects. Is now all harmful effects. So they really just wanted to buff the light Hell Lady. The water one, it was just she was there and now he's got the same skill. We may as well. We don't want to buff Beth. It's the third skill people are. I still think that Beth is good though. I'm not really too crazy about like, oh, Beth needs to be buffed. Is so terrible, such a terrible. She's got multiple AoEs. She's got defense breaks. I like the heal block, but, you know, I don't think Beth is a terrible unit. So, Beast Monk's Crushing Blow. Oh, this is 6 lines for the same exact thing. Got it. This is... Guys, can we just... Please, can we be on the same page? This is filler. If they say the same thing, 6 lines. 6 lines of filler. That is, what, 15% of the balance patch is literally just this. It's 1 line in 6 lines. This is literally just filling up space to make it look bigger than it is. That's literally what it is. It's not figurative. It is literally filling up space. One thing is now 6 lines. Okay, well, it crits now. It always crits with skill 1. Got it. Let's mention this 5 more times. Guys, it always, also, the water one always crits with skill 1. Also, the fire one always crits with skill 1. Do you see? It's very frustrating. Okay. Light Desert Queen, interesting. Gaze of Oblivion. Maybe this is too, this is too zoomed in. Gaze of Oblivion is now Silence and then Oblivion instead of Oblivion and then Silence. I'm sure I'll let the Light Desert Queen owners chime in about that one. I'm trying to think why that would be useful specifically. Dark Totemist, Half Moon Tribe Totem. This is the one that mitigates the damage. She only takes damage from the first attack, if I recall correctly. Decrease the HP of enemies granted with harmful effects by 15%. Is now 20%. That's the one, right? Hold on. But it's not that skill that got changed. Yeah. It's the second skill. That's what it is. So it's her 4th skill is the Half Moon Tribe Totem. It's her alt. Dark Anubis. Wow, Dark Anubis. Deadly Wrath. Effect added your attack bar will be increased by 50% if an ally or an enemy gets defeated while the skill is on cooldown. Oh, jeez. I've seen him do some crazy stuff already before. That's probably going to be nastier than it seems. Yeah, that's probably going to be nastier than it seems. It feels like that's going to be brutal. Firewind and Dark Shoryuken, Ryu, and Striker. Shoryuken and Iron Uppercut for the Striker. So that's the second skill. It does the brand. Combos into the first skill. Hadouken will be activated in succession with 30% is now 50% chance. Mach Punch activated in succession with a 50% chance now as well. You're going to be doing all the time. It feels like a substantial buff to the fire one. No one's using the wind one, so And the dark ones, they're like, that's not a critical point in their combination. But yeah. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting this correct. Yeah. All right. Magic Knight Fire, Vengeful Fire passive. Okay, this is going to impact a lot of people's Necro teams. Your attack speed increases as your HP gets lower. Your attack power increases for 1 turn if you receive damage. Oh, interesting. That could be beneficial. All right, not bad, not bad. Attack speed increases as your HP gets lower, though. The attack power buff is going to be nice. That's going to give people some easier clears on Necro. Brownie Magician, Water, Fire, and Light Fly. Effect added gains another turn with a 20% chance after using this skill. Really? And then Brownie Magician, Wind, Dark, Fever Time. Effect added gains another turn, 20% chance after using this skill. They just nerfed it. Wait a second. They just nerfed these because they're like, we don't want them getting so many additional turns with skill 1. And then they're like, we want these getting more additional turns now. Oh my god. They're just random. They're just picking random things. I don't know, guys. Fire Sky Dancer, though. Wait. The Fire Sky Dancer, I feel like, is a usable one. I feel like Chasun is the one that is hurting right now, which I never, 8 years ago or whenever Chasun came out, I wouldn't have thought that I'd be saying that because she was such a frustration back in the day, but she really shouldn't have been. Looking back on it, it's like, you just use single target nuke damage and then she doesn't have to be a frustration. Or just decrease attack age. There's so much stuff that could have been more effective against Chasun. We just weren't using. Or, I mean, some people were using, but yeah. Not everyone was using, and it was just a frustration that didn't really need to be a frustration. Fire Sky Dancer, Pride Fall. Effect that increases the attack bar of all allies by 10% every time you attack the enemy with defense decreased. She already defense breaks as it is. So now she's just going to increase attack bar. And it's a multi-hit. I mean, it could be 10% attack gauge increase. It could be 0%. It could be 30%. Wow. Interesting. I wonder... I'm going to just say this. I wonder if people do this for Guild Siege defense and have her on Swift using that skill 1, and if they catch the enemy... I mean, the counter to that would be, use Wilrins. And then you don't get your defense broken, and then they don't increase their attack gauge. But it is, effectively, it is a attack power buff, defense break, and attack gauge increase in the same skill. Kind of. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, defense breaks, attack power buff, and will now increase attack gauge. Okay, so we got all the BK buffs. What do we have? Oh, it's the Berserk State buff. It's one change. It's 5 lines for 1 change. Under Berserk State, max HP stays the same now, and defense is decreased by 30%. So every hit they take is going to be ignored defense. Not quite, but yeah, it's making them a little bit more useful because when they decreased their HP, they were so squishy they were just falling over. I mean, as long as they don't get attacked, then they don't have to worry about it. But as soon as they're attacked, they go down pretty fast. They're very squishy glass cannons. But yeah, it's a trade-off. Then we have the Robo Water and Light Robo. Execute Self-Destruct is now effect added stuns for 1 turn, 50% chance. I feel like the water one definitely needed a buff. I don't think that this is it. But yeah, I think you need a buff to the other skill, not this one. Fire Pirate. Oh, Pirate Captains. Fire and Dark. Detonation shot. Decrease the duration of the bomb installed on other enemies by 1 turn each. Is now decrease the skill cooldown of bombardment by 1 turn if the bomb was set off and instantly gains another turn. Does that make the fire one useful? And then we have bombardment buff. Stun chance now 50%. So they nerfed it. Effect that installs a bomb for 2 turns with a 50% chance when attacking. Amount of damage is adjusted due to the addition of bomb effect. And this is the dark one too. And the dark one also gets a buff full speed ahead. Decreases skill cooldown to full speed ahead by 2 turns if enemy is defeated while the skill is on cooldown. Wow. Double frigate buffs. I don't care about the fire one. Double frigate buffs. Oh, it stings. Stings. Still no frigate. Still no frigate. Yep. Still no frigate. Okay. Wow. Okay. We have despair change. Stun rate plus 25% is now. The rule of despair rune sets will change. I feel like they need some of these things, like how the runes work, especially the violent runes and how they change. I feel like they need this in the game. I mean, I'm saying that, but sometimes I say things need to be in the game and they're in that game guide section, and then, you know, people don't read them, myself being included in that. But yeah, that game guide section does have some information on these things, but not everything that we would need on how these things actually function. And the people that know about them are the people that have been playing for 10 years and see the balance patches and look at Reddit and see like what people are calculating on Reddit. And like, if you don't do that, then you don't know all of the nuances of how certain things work. So a lot of people don't know. Most people don't know some of these things. Rule of despair sets will change. When glancing hit is landed, the stun rate is reduced by half. That could change some things though. Stun rate reduced by half. I'm trying to think of how impactful that's going to be. And then the seal rune, now 25%. But when a glancing hit is landed, seal grant rate is reduced by half. 25%. That's pretty impactful. I feel like this is the biggest thing of the entire balance patch. Is the rune changes. Because that affects everything. Well, if you put the runes on them, that affects everything. But what else would be that big of a... That's the biggest change, is the rune changes. That's it. Awakening sets of some monsters will be changed. Wind Siri awakening effect. Increased accuracies now. Increases attack speed. But she's still Wind Siri. So... she's not Sonya, she's Wind Siri. 121 attack speed. Wow. Man, if she was a better unit, that'd be really dangerous. Oh, that means the next buff that they give her, if they give her a buff or if they like draw it out for a year, that could be a huge buff for her in the future. So they're preparing her to be very strong. I don't know if she's going to be very strong right away, but that base speed is nasty. That's very fast. Pure Vanilla Cookie Light increased resistance by 15% is now strengthens. Love and Peace skill. Cooldown time decreased. Well, resistance is fake anyway. And then we have the Light Pudding Princess. Increased by resistance by 25% is now strengthens. Soft Pudding skill. Oh, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same one. Took me a second, guys. Water Hell Lady Awakening effect changes. Increases accuracy is now... strengthens the gouge skill. Continuous damage chance is now 70%. Does that wind up being a nerf? Or do we really care about the dots as much as we care about her for her damage? Good question. Well, you can still get accuracy in artifacts, though. Beast Rider. Wind Beast Rider. Awakening effect change. Resistance. Oh, I didn't even know she increased resistance as an awakening. That was terrible. I would have complained about that more if I knew. Increases accuracy by 25%. Okay, that's fair. That makes sense. I don't know why it was the other way. Hey, Wind Sky Dancer. Instead of... Wait. Wind Sky Dancer did get a buff. Increased resistance by 25% is now strength as a muse skill. Grants immunity for 2 turns to target allies with full HP. Interesting. That's the skill too. That's a pretty big it's a pretty big change. Full immunity, attack power buff and immunity. Heal, attack power buff and immunity. So, and what do we have here? Stats some monsters will be changed. Magic Knights, base speed increase. I don't think that's enough to really change them too much. Fire and Dark BK, readjusted stats to improve monster performance, increase proportion of attack power and HP. Okay. And then we have, can you guys see those ones at the bottom? Skill errors. Oh, these are just skill errors. I heard people saying this was a good balance patch. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Frigate's interesting. I think the biggest things are the change to Despair and Seal runes. And then I feel like most of this stuff, if you didn't know it was buffed, you still wouldn't know. You'd like see here and there. You'd be like, wait a second. Dark Chimera heals since when? It'd be one of those situations, right? Or like, why can't I stun the pure vanilla? I don't know. It feels like they're just changing things randomly. Yeah. It just feels like they're changing things randomly. They know it needs to be buffed. And also, Wind Desert Warrior, still, where is he? Comp-to-us. I'd love to see you play around with him. I would love to see the Comp-to-us reps, the influencers, Comp-to-us influencers. I would love to see them actually use him in RTA. I would love to see that. Because he's obviously so good that he doesn't need a buff, right? Okay, anyway, that's it for this one. It really is. That's it for this one. See you as always in the next one.